We. Yo, what a crazy ass event last night. Oh my god, bro. One of the best cards I've seen in a while. Like every main fight was fire. I fucking loved it, bro. It was great. Hold on, let me do this really quickly. Let me come over here and let me at least upload a thumbnail. I got an ugly thumbnail coming. I don't even know if this is the one. Yep, this is the one. Boom. All right, now let me do this. Into that.
I'm like, I want to plug in my mic thing here, but
yeah. Do it, bro.
I don't think it. Like, hold on. I feel like if I do this though, I won't be able to hear you though, because I have to plug it in.
I'm sure you will. I mean, my mic is pretty strong. I'm putting this thumbnail. Okay. All right, perfect.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
See, I can't hear you talking right now, and that's because my mic is plugged into my thing. Does my audio sound better?
No, it sounds the same.
We'll just go with it. Sounds the same.
That's literally what I said. I said it literally sounds the same.
I tried reading your lips, but it's kind of hard over video.
All right, hold on. Before we start breaking down the card, bro, let me just do this really, really quickly. All right, let's talk some MMA. We live. Let's go. All right, so let's break down the card, man. So last night was a very, very eventful night. It was a great card. Yo, I'm still thinking about the fight of the night, which was, I mean, in my opinion, it was Hamza and Burns, man. What did you think the fight of the night was?
I mean, that's definitely it for sure. Yeah, there's no question about it. That's a spider. that thing from the second Hamza walked out just blew the roof off the place, man.
Yo, that was amazing, especially after he had walked out and then he kind of just like stood on top of the cage, or like he sat on top of the cage. Yo, that I don't know why I thought that was just like so badass, but then like, oh man, like I just wish he had a better showing. You know what I mean? I wish that Hamza had a better showing. But before we hop into that one, let's talk about the first fight. What was the first fight again? I forget.
It was Vink Pichel versus Marco Madsen.
Okay, so let's talk about that fight. So I remember me and you were watching it together. What did you think, man? Were you impressed?
I honestly thought Vink Pichel, I figured that he was gonna have a little bit more of a takedown, I guess, defense, or at least show more wrestling, at least, or kind of just from the bottom, work from the bottom a little bit. When Marco Madsen got him down, it kind of just seemed like that was just going to be inevitable, and he was really going to just control him the whole fight like that. And when Marco Madsen got him down, that's exactly kind of what he did. So really just like, it's kind of how the fight was going to play out no matter what. Marco Madsen, I think, stood a little bit longer than he probably wanted to, because he's not a striker. He's purely a wrestler, pretty much.
So. Yeah. Right. I mean, listen, from what I saw, I thought it was a somewhat like, I wasn't too like entertained by it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, but from so let me ask you this: would you rank that like the most non-eventful fight of the night?
I mean, I think, I've been watching martial arts for a long time. So, I mean, for me, no fight is by any means boring, honestly. I even found, might be a little bit of a distaste here, but I even kind of found Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis to kind of be like a little bit of a strategic
fight. That one was really bad. That one was.
I mean, they both respected their power. You know what I mean? So what do you want them to do? They're gonna try and sit there and throw almost nothing.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. And I would honestly, I mean, I would almost say that the main event, I just didn't like watching Korean Zombie just get kind of.
Bro, you know what? Actually, man,
beat like that.
He got beat up. I mean, in every aspect. I mean, in the striking and the takedowns, it was bad. It was very bad. But let's just air this shit out, man. Let's just talk about the fight of the night that everybody was anticipating, including myself. Hamzat and Gilbert Burns, bro. Honestly, and this is just my thoughts. I remember we did a podcast on this a couple of months ago, and we both pretty much called it that Hamzat was gonna win. The only thing is, like, we didn't expect this fight to be so good. I honestly thought Hamzat was gonna walk in there. Maybe Burns would give him like a tough minute or two, and then Hamzat would just dog walk him. But in this instance, there were so many times that I actually thought Hamzat was gonna get out of there. Like, I thought Burns was gonna TKO him. Man, what did you think about that?
Dude, that had me stressing out, man. Had me stressing out.
Yo, it was so crazy. Like, I remember seeing the fight, and I'm just like, this can't be happening right now. Like, this is my guy. Like, yo, Hamzat, he's one of my guys. He's one of my favorite fighters right now. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, no way this is gonna happen. His first big step up fight, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, Burns is gonna knock him out. Burns is gonna stop him, right? But then it was so entertaining, man. It was a very entertaining fight. So let me ask you this. Based off of that fight, do you think that do you think that Hamzat will become champion? You know who he has to go through. Who he has to go through.
After what we saw last night, I think a lot of questions got answered, but I do not think that the right answers got answered. You know, I think that there is still some question to Hamzat Chimaev here. And could he go 5 rounds? I guess we figured, look at how he was throughout the pace of the fight. I would classify Hamzat as kind of like a lurking type striker. He looks to kind of be right at the end of your punches, but he's hunting you down kind of like this as he just kind of keeps on. So, man, barn burner, man.
It was a barn burner. And my God, I remember talking to guys in the chat, and I'm just like, I'm like, yo, like, do you, like, it almost seemed like Hamzat, like, he passes the eye test. Of course he does, right? Yeah. But it was like, this is his first step up fight, and he's failing it. At least the first couple of minutes, that's what it looked like. Because it looked like Hamzat was just trying to take him down, and then for whatever reason decided to trade hands with him. And that's when it all went to shit. And I'm just like, yo, he's really, really out here trading shots with Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns ain't no slouch. No. Yeah, he's 35 years old. He's washed up, kind of. Not, I don't want to say that, but you know.
But he trains out of Stanford MMA there in Florida, and you know, he's there with Trevor Whitman. He works with worked with Kamaru Usman as well. You know, I mean, come on. Come on. Yeah, like at the same time, that's what I was saying too. When I saw Hamzat was striking with him, I was like, oh wow, look at this. And I think Hamzat actually has, in a slight sense, I'm going to say less power than what we thought. I think his strikes weren't necessarily like knockout type punches. I would almost classify them kind of like Colby Covington's type punches. You know
what's crazy? It's funny that you say that, because he actually ended up dropping Gilbert Burns with a jab. He's got a hell of a jab. He has a very, very sharp jab. And another thing too, bro, like, I was watching the fight and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, Hamzat has a fucking chin on him, bro. He's got a hell of a chin, because he was taking some shots. I mean, he got dropped like 3 or 4 times by Gilbert Burns. And I'm just sitting there like I said, I thought at any moment the fight was going to be over. And I'm just like, yo, no way. Could you imagine that? After all the hype behind him, and after Colby Covington calling him cum shot and saying that he was the hype job and this and that, I'm like, yo, if he goes in there and loses to Gilbert Burns, and I honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, bro. I thought Gilbert Burns won that fight. I scored it 2-1. Yes, I thought he won the fight. I thought he won it 2-1. At least that's how I scored it. How did you score it? And be honest.
Yeah. Listen, I thought the beginning of the fight was Hamzat, but then it just like seemed like right after round, I would say like middle of round 2, honestly, it kind of just didn't look like it was starting to go Hamzat's way anymore. And I ended up watching like an post-fight interview afterwards, and he said that Gilbert Burns was actually a lot stronger than he thought. And so he said, I mean, well, whatever, I give him props for that. he said, but also as soon as like he took him down, I guess like one of those first few times, I think he said something like Gilbert Burns went to throw up like a triangle or an arm bar or something, and he said, "Oh, get the hell out of here with that shit." And he said, "No, I'm just standing up." So that's why he stood up, and then he just started kicking Gilbert Burns in like the legs really quick. He was like, "I'm not playing your game, guy," you know. So I mean, relatively smart there, but as the fight kept going, he started losing his smarts and started
bro.
fighting with that wolf in him.
Yeah, bro. It was like I said, it was just something out of this world. Like I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what am I watching right now? I was like, don't tell me that my man's about to get exposed. Because that's what it was looking like, bro. That's what it was looking like.
I think he did. I think he did. Honestly.
100%. He definitely got exposed. But I thought he was gonna lose too as well. You know, like I said, like I see this kid just getting wobbled. And do you think? Okay, let me ask you this: do you think Hamza has a suspicious gas tank?
No.
You don't think so? He didn't look gassed to you at all. Like,
I'll say this. I think that from the start of his walkout, he came in with a lot of energy.
Right.
Even when he was sitting there waiting for Gilbert Burns just in the octagon, a lot of energy. When Bruce Buffer was calling his name, a lot of energy. Yep. Before the fight, even too, in their interviews, I'ma just smash this guy. So it's kind of like he came in kind of like, I would say he knew his hype, you know what I mean? And he knew what he was fighting for. He knew that in a way, if he lost to Gilbert Burns, if he didn't really put it all out there on Gilbert Burns, and I think he really thought he was going to shut Gilbert Burns down faster than he thought, you know? So that's why I think what happened is just that he had an adrenaline dump, and that's kind of what it is. Because he really tried going to hunt Gilbert Burns in that first round, but he really did do that the whole fight too. Like, even when he was getting kind of, you know, put down for a minute by Gilbert Burns, he got right back up and did not care. He was like a reckless abandon, you know, like he just a nutcase. So he's a fighter's fighter.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's crazy too. You say that because in the first round, he took Gilbert down with ease, and then he was just like, you know, just pounding on him. And I'm just like, yo, oh shit, like Hamza's the real deal. But then he escapes out of that. They stand up and trade for whatever reason. I don't know why Hamza decided to trade with him. I think he should have just taken him down and mauled him on some like Khabib shit, you know?
Yeah.
He started to trade hands with this guy, and then all of a sudden he gets touched, and it's just like, oh shit. Like, I think even I don't know what the trainer said to him, but I know you remember what sequence I'm talking about where he like throws the towel down, he's yelling at Hamza. Yeah. I think I got it translated by a guy, and pretty much what the coach was saying, at least according to him, was the coach was asking him, why are you trading with this guy? Why are you fighting him? Like, why are you standing up with him? Take him down, take him down, take him down. So that's what it was. At least according to that guy. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyways, bro, I'm just like, I'm watching that fight, and like, I'm such a Hamza fan, and I'm like, yo, like, no fucking way is this happening right now. You know what I mean? And then it was crazy because like it was such a great fight, but at the same time, like, I feel as though, do you think because I feel as though a Gilbert Burns, like 30-year-old, 31-year-old, probably would have got him out of there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Gilbert Burns had the skill set he does now, and he was younger, yeah. When Gilbert Burns was a little bit younger, he definitely kind of didn't have the striking he does now. Yeah. He's definitely more confident in his hands because he's been working with Trevor Whitman, you know. So that's like. That's good that he has the confidence now at this stage of his career, and that is kind of what's making him do good as well. Can't even knock it, you know.
So Paulo Sanchez says Hamza Chimaev wanted to trade with. He wanted to make a statement, but he could have ended it on the ground and made it an easy night. I tend to agree with that. I really agree because we saw he took him down with no problem. He laid on him, he ground and pounded him, and you know, it looked like he was just having his way. For whatever reason, I don't know why Hamza decided to stand and bang. Maybe like what this guy said. Maybe he wanted to make a statement. I'm not sure. But do you think Hamza can beat a guy like Kobe Covington that way? I think he steamrolls a guy like Jorge Masvidal, no problem. But what about Kobe Covington? Do you think he can get the job done against him?
Yeah, I think he does get the job done against Kobe Covington. But I think that's like kind of almost like the same fight. But I honestly do think that I think Hamza will have an easier time taking down Kobe, to be honest. I just don't know why.
Yeah.
But Even though Kobe has wrestling credentials, Gilbert really doesn't. It's like I just view Gilbert as more of a tougher fighter than Kobe at the end of the day. And Kobe really, when he comes in, he doesn't really like blast double legs and all that. You know, he's really kind of coming to like pressure you against the cage and then get that cage pressure against you, you know, but he's really not out there wrestling for his life, you know.
Yeah. No,
Hamzat, on the other hand, looks like he's wrestling to just, yeah, he's Habib, man. Like,
so he said Hamza Chimaev will be a world champion, mark my words, but he does need to work on his jab and he KOs Colby or taps him out. You know what? Hamza Chimaev definitely, I believe he will be a world champion. Check this out. Me and my homie were talking about this at work today. So Kamaru Usman has Leon Edwards next, right? So after that fight, it's a possibility that Usman retires at least from the UFC world, right? Because I know he's been talking about going to boxing and things like that. He, you know, it seems like a lot of UFC guys are going that direction, or at least they want to go that route. We know Francis Ngannou wants to do boxing against Tyson Fury. So now Kamaru Usman is talking about that too. Now, Kamaru Usman, let's say that does happen. He retires or he moves up in a way, whatever he decides to do. That belt is now vacated. The two guys that are going to be fighting for that belt is more than likely going to be Kobe and Hamzat. That'd be a hell of a fight, bro. That would be a hell of a fight. So
I don't know. I almost think that Kobe gonna run from this guy.
You think so?
Yeah, he'll run from a boomerang. You know what I
mean? But yo, bro, I would love to see that shit, man. I really believe that that's the way that's almost how it's gonna go down. Because I think Leon and Usman, I think they're fighting September. Is it September? I could be wrong.
I don't think the date's been announced yet.
It hasn't been announced yet. I thought it was. I thought it was official already. But it's probably going to happen because it's only April. More than likely happens this year. I'm just saying, look, this is just a hypothetical, like, what if? But, like, man, it would be, like, one of the best what ifs. Because, honestly, the way Hamzat fought last night, I don't know if he can definitely beat Kobe, in my opinion. I don't know if he could beat Usman, man. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I don't think he beats Usman right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that if he had a hard time with Gilbert trains with Usman. And if anything, I'm pretty sure Usman was probably Gilbert's main wrestling coach for all this. And that was actually brought up too before the fight, was that Usman was helping Gilbert with wrestling like before this fight anyways. So with that being said, Hamzat's going to have a better wrestler than Gilbert. And I mean, wrestling. At the end of the day, I kind of see Usman as being, you know, kind of like Gilbert, shorter, stocky. He's gonna be able to probably withstand the takedown attempts from Hamzat, and that's gonna probably end up being a striking battle, to be honest. And the reason why I said no at the end of the day is because, as I said, we got answers, sure, but we didn't get the right answers. And I think that Kamaru Usman's striking as of right now, his boxing's so crisp right now. Like he's really doing good. That shot that he hit Masvidal with, that puts anybody in.
Yep. And you know what? I was just saying to one of my homies today, I said, I feel like Kamaru Usman is, other than Jorge Masvidal, is one of the few guys that could venture over to boxing and do very, very well because his hands are so good. Jorge Masvidal would be another guy, but like the top guys right now, I feel like Kamaru Usman can actually go to boxing and do very, very well. I don't know if he could beat a guy like what weight does he fights at? What's welterweight in
170.
170. So he'd be fighting guys like Canelo. So I don't know if he could beat a guy like Canelo, probably not. But you know, he could beat like lower level guys, you know, make a little noise. But I feel as though he would do very, very well in boxing, depending on who he fights. Like, obviously, if he fights the top guys, he probably loses. But if he fights like mid-tier, you know, guys that are like known but not like too dangerous, he probably become a world champion in boxing. You know, very, very minor belt. But back to the Hamzat situation, man. If you had to grade it, if you were Dana White, you're Dana White, right? You want to grade this guy on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you give him based on last night's performance?
Last night's performance, I'm gonna say probably somewhere around a 7 to an 8.
Wow. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, I figure it's probably more like a 7.3. You know what I mean? Like we'll put it like that because I think the reason why his coach was yelling at him, to really get it going was because if they believe in their guy that much, I would be mad too, because
Yeah, no,
it means that at the end of the day, your coaches believe that there was something that we could have done so much better. Because it's very rare in the UFC you hear coaches yelling like that, and it doesn't matter where they're from necessarily. A lot of fighters actually in that moment like to be talked to like that because it's loud enough,
motivate
so
them. Yep.
yeah. So and especially if somebody's kind of talking to you like, get your damn head in the game. You're kind of like, whoa, dude, like you're already mad too, and yeah.
Yeah, dude, I mean, honestly, like some guys like that shit. You know what I mean? It motivates them. I feel like he's one of them. So really quickly, let's move on to we had the Alexander Volkanovski and Korean Zombie fight. Now,
really fast. I actually wanted to bring something up about the Hamza thing really fast.
Oh, sure.
How about the illegal strikes at the end of the round when him and Gilbert were on the ground there?
He smacked him, right? Or something like that. Was that what it was? That what you talking about?
Yeah, man. Listen, a little distasteful there, Hamza. Like, I'm not saying you lost a fan over that at all, but I mean, like, there's where I could say the adrenaline dump was like kind of almost obvious, is because it's like, man, yeah, right there. Like, if you can't control your emotions right there, and also kind of in the Peter Yan Aljo fight, we all kind of were sitting there like, don't do it, don't do it.
Bro, yeah. So I mean, I thought I'm pretty sure it was like heat of the moment kind of stuff. I don't think he meant to I don't think he meant any harm behind it or anything like that.
Yeah, like I know Gilbert. Oh man, it was so funny because Gilbert like kicked him in the chest like twice though, like just to get him off him like that towards the end, and it was like, yeah.
Right, Polo Sanchez says Hamza Chimaev can beat Usman. Watch in a year. We will come back on here and see. Yo, honestly, bro, I would love that. I would love it. Yeah. I want Hamza to be champion. You know me, man. Me and you, man, we're both like, I don't want to call each other fanboys, but like very close to it. You know what I mean? We're very big on Hamza. So if Hamza could beat Usman, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing. So, all right, moving on. So Sterling Peter Yan, what'd you think about that one?
I kind of feel like that was exactly how I thought it was going to be. And I just want to kind of announce this now, I guess, But I last night was sitting there, and before that fight started, I was really thinking about it in my head, and I'm sitting there looking at my DraftKings account, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I feel like I should just bet on this fight really fast. So I went and I ended up just throwing $15 on Aljamain Sterling to win by decision.
Nice.
And now it's plus 700.
Nice.
And so I turned $15 into $122 last night.
Let's go. W's for you.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Yo, that's amazing.
And that was such on a whim, too. Such on a whim. Like, I mean, but that's how I really, I wouldn't bet. I mean, $15. People are out here betting just $1 on this stuff, but I'm sitting there and I was like, you know what? I saw the payout was relatively good, and I just feel like I had to go get it, so I got it and I cashed out for it.
Bro,
Thank you, Aljamain Sterling.
Bro, I can't believe Sterling was such an underdog. That's incredible to me.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see that way because I'm winning.
But, I mean, hey, you won from it, so hey, applaud.
I didn't see it that way. But most people, I would say, after the first fight, whatever, I saw something different. And honestly, what I saw in this fight, guys, is typical tradition styles make fights. I saw a striker versus a grappler. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't know who's a fan of Conor and all that, but look at how these strikers get beat. It's by grapplers. I'm sorry, You know
what's interesting, man. I went on Facebook last night after the event, and of course, everybody and their mother was just talking about nothing but robberies. Everybody felt Gilbert Burns was robbed, and then I started hearing, Peter Yan was robbed. Peter Yan was robbed. Peter Yan was robbed. How did you feel about that? Like, in all honesty, like I know you won money out of it. Do you feel that Sterling actually deserved that victory?
Well, yeah. As I said, I picked him to win right by decision, so I picked him to win just in general. But that was also before the fight, admittedly.
But
I
what
would
I'm
say,
asking is, do you agree with the decision?
yeah, I do. Because what I could say is that from round one, I saw, I guess, like a little bit of a 50-50 round. But what you guys kind of got to also understand, just like in football, is there's a thing called time in a fight, just like in a football game, you know. And if that runs out and you didn't do enough work within your time, I don't care that the first round was really split a little bit, but I do think Aljo kind of had a little bit in that first round to give Yan just a little bit of a. That's the round that kind of made the judges kind of sway their head a little bit. But then round two, round three, this is where I'm talking about the time comes in, because Aljo controlled his ass on the ground for like 4 minutes in both of those rounds. And I mean, that's solid, like 10-8, if you ask me.
Listen, a lot of people sleep on the ground control, man, but that wins fights. That gives you
not see that body lock he had with? Oh my! Goodness!
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I could just tell Peter Yan's abs, like he as soon as he was done, he went like this. He's like, "Whoa, my freaking sides are hurting me, man." I could just tell that was locked in so tight.
But you know what? Sterling also impressed me a little bit with his striking. You know, No, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, like, his striking. I would say he really was staying. He was staying solid. He was just really just kind of like there at the end of his punches. You know, he was not overextending, so he was kind of being patient with it. And he knew his plan.
I mean, I don't I don't want to say like necessarily neck and neck with Peter Yan, but he held his own. He's held, like I said, I was very, very impressed with not just the ground game, but you know, with the stand-up game. I thought he was looking incredible in there. I don't know why people were calling it a robbery, man. You know how close fights are, bro. Robbery this, robbery that. You know, but honestly, like I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Sterling. I also agree with the decision. I think he did just enough to beat him. Could the fight go the other way? I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you if like you come on here fanboying for Peter Yan talking about, oh, it was a robbery. All right, cool. I'll give that to you. You know, but honestly, if you're asking me, I thought Sterling did more. Not, I don't want to say more than enough, but I think he did just enough to win. Just enough to win. So, what do you think is next for Peter Yan, man?
Oh man,
for the third fight, are we going to see the trilogy?
I don't think so. I think Dana White is just kind of pretty much going to try and like move on and everything from that. I don't know. I just really don't think I think honestly he's still looking at the like Brandon Moreno and Davidson Figueiredo situation. He's like, why do I keep doing these like weird trilogies, like kind of like right after another? I should just save these and get these divisions moving.
Oh,
that's at least what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. So, all right. So we got Paulo Sanchez. He says in the third fight, Peter Yan will win. How do you feel about that? If they do a trilogy,
Peter Yan needs to really work on his wrestling defense a lot. He needs to. Because his coach even told him not to give up his back again. And listen, nobody's exactly perfect. And Aljo is a good wrestler at the end of the day. Like, we're not going to sit there and play it off like he isn't.
No, of course.
So that is why I saw that fight kind of being like that. I was like, if this fight goes the way I think, yeah, I'm gonna bet some money on it. But I think the fight was going to go by decision because that's kind of how Aljo kind of fights, I guess. You know, but I'm just happy with it all, I guess.
So overall, how okay, so just the main card, not the prelims, we're talking about the main cards in general. How would you, out of scale 1 to 10, what would you give last night's event?
Oh dude, that was like a 15.
Yeah, yo, you know what? I didn't want to sound like I'm fanboying MMA because I also, this is a boxing MMA podcast. But MMA, yo, they've been and last night's card was amazing. Every fight. Well, the Hamza fight was great. That was the fight of the night. Like I said, fight of the night, potentially a fight of the year candidate. I thought even though Korean Zombie got his ass whooped by Volkanovski, I thought it was an entertaining fight. It was a very good fight. It was a very good fight. I think every fight on the main card was no lower than a 7, like out of 10. I thought Hamza.
Also, let's show the ladies a little bit of
Oh
love.
yeah. No, I mean, how could we forget?
Right. Oh, dude, listen, Mackenzie Dern. Oh my God,
yeah,
dude, versus Tisha Torres.
Yep.
My God. I mean, I could say this. I thought Tisha Torres from the start was going to be timid. I feel like she just fights a little bit like that. But she started gaining confidence throughout the whole fight. Once she started throwing those side kicks, when she switched stance and then started hitting her with the right leg with that side kick to the abdomen, I was like, oh my God. And she kept blasting her with it. And I was like, man. But man, let's not talk about the beginning of that fight though. Mackenzie Dern jumping on her like a dang.
Yeah, bro. She was really on her. I was like, oh shit, she's trying to make a statement.
She was like an angry gorilla that hasn't been fed for like a year. Bro. She leached on her, and then it was just yanking on her.
Yo, she was hitting her with some nasty oblique kicks, and I'm just like, but like, I mean, she took them well, but goddamn, like, oh my God, yo, those oblique kicks, bro, they're so dangerous.
What she did is she leaned forward to like pretty much pretend like she was leaning on that leg, but then lifted that front leg a lot, you know.
But so, you know what the issue with Dern is, bro? She was coming in kind of like with her head down. You know what I mean? Like she would come in, like she would throw a punch, put her head down, or she would come in with her head down too. And I'm just like, oof. Like usually when I see that, it usually tells me one thing. Like in boxing, that's a no. You get uppercutted really quickly. In MMA, you can get away more with that because their striking really isn't like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like boxing. You know what I mean? Like it's not the greatest. So they can get away with that in the MMA world. Boxing, like I said, you get uppercutted, you probably get dropped. But I'm seeing that, and then dude, like that spider fucking whatever the hell armbar she was trying to get on Dern, bro. That shit was insane. I'm like, yo, I don't know what it was. What do you call that?
That was like a flying Kimura, dude.
Yeah, bro.
It was like, against the cage. Oh man.
I know. I was like, God damn, like this girl is really, I like that fight. You know what? In the boxing world, nobody really cares much for women's boxing, which is kind of sad. But it's just not popular. In the UFC world, or in the MMA world, I should say, women's MMA is very popular. People tune in.
Yeah.
People tune in. You know, like they're in the main cards of pay-per-views. You would never see that. You will never see that in boxing. Like I said, they don't show them any love whatsoever. It's sad, but it's just the truth. But these fights,
and don't forget, in the UFC, we are some straight killers for females. Rose Namajunas, Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, Joanna Jacek. The list goes on and on.
Like remember when Ronda Rousey fought what's the first girl that beat her? I forget her name. Holly Holm.
Yeah.
When she first fought Holly Holm, that was a pay-per-view fight, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the main event, right?
Yeah.
Was that the main event? Bro, boxing would never host a female fight in a pay-per-view as the main event. It's just, it doesn't happen, you know? Yeah. So it's finally nice to see like women's sports actually getting some attention, man. You know what I mean? And that fight was
to all those other sports, you women out there, if you ain't getting paid, if you ain't getting the love, the UFC's got a special place for you.
But yeah, bro. And so anyways, Torres won the fight. Do you, first of all, foremost, do you agree with the decision?
Well, Dern won, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Dern.
Yeah. I really just kind of feel like Mackenzie Dern just put on a little bit more pressure, and Tisha Torres was just kind of like, as I said, timid. She was coming with more pressure as the fight got on, but I just kind of see Mackenzie Dern as she barely edged it out. I'll say that, but
yeah, because like I said, bro, yesterday was just a robbery. It was just everybody just complaining about robberies. And I went on these Facebook groups, and of course everybody was crying about Burns. People were crying about Tisha Torres being robbed, and I'm just like, yo, it's just like robbery this, robbery that, right? Like, motherfuckers just enjoy the fucking pay-per-view. Robbery this, robbery that, da, 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 da. Like, Jesus Christ. Everybody was saying that Peter Yan got robbed, and I'm like, yo, almost every fight in the main card, other than Volkanovski fight, everybody was saying, yo, robbery, 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 robbery. I'm like, oh, God damn. But that's how you know it was a good event, because every fight was competitive. Other than the Volkanovski fight, every fight was competitive, bro. And I give the pay-per-view a 10 out of 10, bro. Please agree with me. Please agree with me.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was so good. As I said, like from the first fight, I mean, Ving Pichel versus Marco Madsen, that was on the prelims. So like, let's give that first fight its little bit of due. But it was nice to introduce, and then also right after that, you had a little bit more of a ground game presence, kind of that looked more enticing to the human eye. With Mackenzie Dern just jumping on her like a leech like that. It was insane. Like I was actually glad that the casual MMA fans got to see something like that out of MMA to maybe show that the ground game or submission fighting is not boring, And it's great to have somebody like Mackenzie Dern to showcase something like that.
And we also had Mickey Gall fought last night too.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Mickey Gall. So for people who don't know, Mickey Gall is the guy that beat the shit out of CM Punk. And you know what? Ever since he beat CM Punk, it's kind of like, I don't want to say he's been on the decline, but it's kind of like he's losing more than he's winning, So Mickey Gall is hold on, I got his. He's 30 years old right now, right? I got his information pulled up right here. So he's lost his last 2 fights. So he's lost one by decision, one by TKO. What do you think is going on with Mickey Gall, man? What do you think he needs to work on to get kind of like back into that winning streak he had and that hype around him after he had beaten CM Punk? I mean, beating CM Punk really, let's just be honest, didn't mean anything. I mean, me and you could both beat CM Punk. That doesn't mean much. But what do you think is going on? What do you think Mickey Gall needs to do different?
Listen, I don't know if it's probably just maybe he just needs different training. He needs maybe like a better training camp or something. I'm not going to say he's not a good fighter at where he's at. He is. And he kind of is well-rounded. Like, he really is. Yeah. He's got decent striking. He's got jiu-jitsu for sure. And he's not a slouch on the ground. Like, even though he has the jiu-jitsu, yes, he does use it too. So it's, and as I said, he's not a bad striker. Like, he's kind of a little bit sound standing up. So it kind of just doesn't make sense. I don't know if he's getting the bad end of the stick. You know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate, but who knows? Maybe this guy's going to, kind of like a Clay Guida career. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably just, he's there, So I don't know. I think he still stays in the UFC and all. I think that he still gets a few more fights. I think he just really has got to work something out. I think it might be just a little bit of training. He's got to put something up there.
You know what's interesting? Go ahead. Finish your point.
And just maybe, I'm not saying that maybe this is it, but maybe that CM Punk fight gave him a little bit of an ego, and maybe he rides that, and that's kind of what he's like. Yeah, I'm the guy that beat up that stupid WWE wrestler, and he probably tells people that all the time. And I'm sorry, Mickey Gall, if you're listening, but even if he doesn't, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that beating somebody who has a reputable name like that, when you are still back in the rankings, you're not like Conor McGregor to where you don't care about that dude's fanfare or popularity and gaining that, then I think that in a slight sense, it might play a little bit of a part. And maybe you just got to get back to the drawing board, put his head down, be humble. And
actually, I was talking to
train with Hamza.
Yeah, hey, Shay, you never know. Might work for him. But I was talking to one of the homies today, and we were talking about Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall came up in a conversation, and I kind of said the same thing. I was like, I feel as Mickey Gall, he beat CM Punk, and although CM Punk wasn't a fighter, he had a lot of hype around him. Everybody knows who CM Punk is. He had a great reputation in the WWE. He was kind of like a superstar. I think the highest, I don't know, like the highest paid, but by definitely the most popular UFC fighter when he fought that night, because everybody knew who he was. So I feel as though maybe he obliterated him, beat him in like 30 seconds or something like that. And then kind of like his head kind of just like blew up, and he was like, oh yeah, I beat the shit out of CM Punk. And like how you were saying, kind of just rode that wave, Speaking of CM Punk, man, what I was going to get at, Mickey Gall has lost 2 fights in a row now, right? typically Dana White, I believe, kicks you out after three losses in a row. Is that what it is?
I think it depends who you talk to. Look at if you look really quick, go look at Sam Alvey's record.
Oh shit, let's see.
You know, there's some guys that you just scratch your head and you go, how are they still in the UFC?
Yeah,
This blows my mind. You know,
listen. Nothing surprises me anymore. When Josh Barnett failed 3 PED goddamn tests and was still getting title shots, that's when I was like, yo, it really does. And holy shit, wow, you're right. He's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, goddamn 8 fights in a row. Shit.
Hey, I know my stuff, right? I told you. I said, go look at Sam Alvey's record if you think that's something.
Jesus Christ.
The MMA ticket, you're going to get something here, buddy.
Good. Glad you're on. School me. But yeah, bro, it's just like, Jesus. Like, yeah, how do wow, he must really, Dana White must really love this guy, because this guy
his nickname is Smiling. So I mean, Smiling's the other thing. Hey, a guy like that, he's probably even getting underpaid like crazy, and he don't even
I would imagine.
He just loves his job, man. And honestly, if you watch his interviews, he's such a nice, humble guy. Like, I'm sorry, Sam Alvey, for just blowing your record up here, but hey, he just had his like last fight not too long ago, and he was like even saying in a post-fight interview, he said like, man, I just don't know if I'm about to get cut by the UFC, but he's like, but he's still smiling like crazy guy.
Bro, this guy hasn't won a fight since 2018. Jesus Christ.
And he's had a lot of them too. It's just wild.
Yeah. He hasn't won a fight in 4 years. I think that's the last time Conor won a fight as well too. But you know what's funny? You know how you keep saying, yo, sorry, Mickey Gall, if you're watching, yo, let me tell you this. I'm glad you're saying that, because I never thought that these professional fighters actually watch my shit until one of them actually commented on one of my videos. Hey. So I don't know. You know who Chad Dawson is, right?
Yeah.
So funny story, man. I made a video batch about Chad Dawson, right? And how he's fighting Vitor Belfort. I don't know if that's still going on or not, but remember we talked about that. So yeah. I made that video about Vitor Belfort and Chad Dawson, posted it online, and it was a video that didn't really do too well. It probably only had like 300-400 views, and then all of a sudden, Chad Dawson's son commented on the video, and he said, "Hey," because I posted a video of I thought Chad Dawson was sparring, but it wasn't him; it was his son. So he commented on the video. He said, "Hey, that's not my dad, that's me." So I know if he saw it, Chad Dawson saw it too. So I was like, "Yo, these fighters really be watching our shit, bro." You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta watch what you say, because you could get blackballed. Like if you talk shit about, like, I don't know, Nate Diaz or something, and Dana White really loves Nate Diaz, you try to get credentials, they'll blackball you, bro. Like, a lot of times you gotta watch out what you say.
Hey, to all the fighters out there, though, I love all you guys, and I'd be willing to have any of you guys on the show.
All right, so last thoughts, because I'm about to end in about 5 minutes. So let's get back to the Burns Hamza thing, man. All right. Do you think that fight is worthy of a rematch?
Yeah.
You want to see the rematch? Yeah. Let's see the rematch, Dana White.
Yeah, let's get it.
I want to see that rematch so bad, bro.
I feel like there's only 2 people that are gonna make answers keep coming out of Hamza, and I think it'll be Gilbert Burns, because that's his test right there.
Right.
I'm glad he passed the test, but was it not a test?
Oh my God, that was the hardest test he's ever had. And you know what? Dana White says he might be fanboy Hamza too. He said Hamza passed the test with flying colors. He said flying colors. I thought he barely scraped. Actually, I don't even think he passed the test. I thought he failed it. But to the people that believe he won, it was like this close. It was razor thin. I mean, he other than that, like, he definitely has the heart to become a champion, and I'm glad he finally got humbled, bro. All that kill everybody shit was like, all right, bro, you're doing too much. You know what I mean? I'm glad he finally got humbled too. I think that's exactly what he needed.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly
he talked about it post fight too in the interviews as soon as he got up there, and he was just like, I give it to Gilbert Burns, like, because they were like, you know, what happened? Pretty much his demeanor changed, you know. And he said, like, what do you want me to do? This dude was tough. I give him his respect where he's due. And you know, he said too that he respected Gilbert Burns kind of more than the other contenders because Gilbert Burns had his family there. He said, I didn't want to smash Gilbert Burns in front of his daughters and all that. So Hamzat, guys, the one answer we found was that he has a heart.
Yeah, somewhere
and at the end of the day, he said in that interview right after he said that, he said, I want to fight guys like me, somebody who's just straight killers. And he wants to fight guys that don't have like a family. So Kobe, if you're watching this, you better sign that fight because he's looking for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what he needs, man. He needs and you know what? That's what I'm saying. He has the heart. Like he wants these guys. Even though there's a chance he probably loses, I'm sure he knows that, but he wants these guys. Man, I wish all these fighters, including boxing, could take a page out of Khamzat Chimaev. So, anyways, MMA Ticket, thank you so much for being on. Viewers, go follow the MMA Ticket on YouTube, man. I'm going to holla at you guys, and I'm going to end the broadcast, bro. Thank you for being on, man. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You too, bro.